Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be doing yet another foundation review. Y'all, that is just the year of foundations. I have one that I got from Sephora. I mean, I think it came in like maybe 10 days ago and I haven't even been able to touch it because I have been so inundated with trying new ones. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I just want to use some of my favorites. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break after this and just start using some of the ones that I have been neglecting for a little while, and then I'll be back because there are a couple new ones launching that I want to do a review on. But today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. The Kosas Revealer Concealer has been a favorite of mine since it launched. I've talked about this a lot. I love how moisturizing and emollient it is under the eyes. I love how it wears. It doesn't crease and crinkle and do all the nasty C words that I don't like under my eyes. And I have often myself and seen other people use this as a foundation all over their face. So when they came out with this, I was so excited, hoping that it would be very similar to using the concealer all over my face. And I will say it is pretty similar, but there's some different ingredient callouts. The foundation has an SPF 25. It's comprised of a 7.5% zinc oxide, so it is mineral and not chemical sun blockers in this. It is $42. It comes in 36 shades. I honestly was very confused as to what shade to get, so I actually sent Kosas a picture of myself on Instagram, and they were very quick to get back with me. I told them I was in between two shades, and they told me to go with 190, which is described as being a light, medium, neutral, warm. So that's what I got and that's what I'm wearing, and it definitely works. I think in the summer I'm actually going to be able to go up to 220, which was the other option that I gave them. And I will say I was looking on the Sephora website, and it's very helpful that if you slide over on the website, I'm going to put up on the screen what it looks like. It tells you the foundation color, and then it tells you what color you would be in the concealer, and then what color you would be in the powder. So I kind of went backwards on that actually this morning, and I realized that according to that, I would be 220 because I wear 4.5 in the concealer and comfy in the powder. So I think as summer rolls around, I'll be able to go up to 220, but it's a good feature. If you're not aware of that and you already have some Kosas products, I would definitely look into that to help you find the shade. I have not looked at any other shades in person, so I can't tell you whether or not they run pretty yellow, which I do find that the concealers run yellow even if they claim to be neutral or pink undertones. So I can't speak to that, but this one is supposed to be yellow, and it blends in and works really nicely. Now, a couple of shout outs about this. This is supposed to be a medium coverage with natural finish. It is clean. Kosas is a clean brand. It is supposed to be hydrating. It's got sodium hyaluronate, which is hyaluronic acid. It has squalane, which is also a very hydrating ingredient. It also has arnica extract, which I really like because I use arnica after I get injectables, after I get Botox, because I tend to bruise very easily, and that helps keep the bruising at bay. Not quite sure what it would do in a foundation, but I definitely don't think it would hurt. It also has caffeine, and I talked about in my under eye video about how I really like caffeine in eye creams because it really just helps perk it up and kind of depuff and brighten. So I would assume it would probably serve the same purpose in this foundation. And the ingredient list is not exhaustive, which I really appreciate. So, you don't have to go too far down to get these ingredients, which means there's a good amount of it in there, and I appreciate that. It's got glycerin, which is also very hydrating. It also has niacinamide. I don't see a percentage of the niacinamide listed. I kind of wish that they would put that because that is something that is very prevalent nowadays in many, many products. So I would like to know how much I am kind of piling on top of each other of that specific ingredient because some people can be a little sensitive to it. It also has peptides and, lots of good ingredients that they're claiming are going to make your skin better over time, as I feel like is the claim for every foundation that has launched in 2022. So we are going to put this to the test. I'm not going to test whether it makes my skin better over time because that's why I use skincare, but we are going to put it to the test, see if it is hydrating and see how it wears and how it looks and the coverage and all of that. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo, and then I will give you my final thoughts at the end. Okay, let's go ahead and get into trying this out. I don't have anything on my face except for skincare. I'm using my Supergoop Mineral Matte Screen today and a little bit of corrector underneath my eyes. As always, I'll have everything linked down below. As I said in the intro, I am in the shade 190, which is described as a light, medium, neutral, warm. So light to medium skin tones with a yellow undertone. I'm not quite sure why they have neutral in the name. It's not really neutral in my opinion, but anywho, let's just go ahead and get started. If you can see, hopefully it's coming across on camera. I have quite a bit more redness than I typically do. I have a feeling I know why, but this is what we're working with. The Supergoop does not have hardly any coverage to it at all. So this is basically my skin straight after skincare with no coverage. So we're gonna be able to see how well this covers also. I'm gonna take about a pump and a half. That's what I have found is the best amount. So that is 190. You can see it is running down the hand. So it is not moussey by any means, but it is a little bit thicker in texture than some of the ones I have been reviewing lately. So I'm going to just dot it on the face. I can tell my kids have been in my office because there are fingerprints all over my makeup mirror. Now, we'll say that this is another one lately that I prefer using a sponge with. That is not like me. I am typically a brush girl, but I have found that I like the way this blends out better with a sponge. I also think it's a little bit fast drying, so the moisture from the sponge kind of helps prolong the blendability time versus a brush. But just patting it in, you can see how fast that blended out. And just like that, we have some coverage. And to me, this is what it states, a good, solid, medium coverage foundation. So you can see over here, my redness, and it covered it up pretty well. Like if I really look, I can see some redness still, but honestly, by the time I get the rest of my makeup on, it's not gonna be noticeable, and it blended in really well. So there's a little bit of some luminosity, a little bit right up here on my cheekbone on this side, but you can see it's all over on this side. So I do feel like it's more to the natural, slightly luminous finish. So let's finish up this other side, and then I'll do a close-up. Okay, so I still see a little bit more redness on this side because I guess I had more to begin with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take just a little bit left on my hand, and I'm gonna see if I can just build it up. So I put it on the sponge from my hand versus putting even more product on the face. And I'm just gonna lightly tap it in and build up that coverage, which that worked pretty nicely. I tried building it up on my little spot right here, which is kind of my coverage-o-meter when I am testing out new foundations. And I'm not able to build it up to where it goes away completely. So I am sticking with the medium coverage. I don't think it's buildable to full, but it's still a very nice amount of coverage. Okay, so this is the skin up close. I feel like it looks good on the pores. It is, again, pretty luminous. I don't want to say that. It's luminous. I don't want to say pretty luminous. I have definitely been trying foundations lately that are way more luminous, but it's certainly not matte. So I'm going to add a little bit of the Kosas Revealer Concealer. Then I'm going to set that, and I'll come back and I want to show you what it looks like once it's set, because I do feel like it changes a little bit. So I tried this with many different powders, as I do when I'm testing out a foundation, but I'll go ahead and tell you that my favorite powder to use with it is the Kosas Cloud Set powder, which makes sense. Not always the case, right? Like a lot of times when companies release a new foundation and I already have powders and bronzers and all the other stuff that goes with, supposed to go with that foundation, or at least from the same company, they don't always work that well together. But I do find that these definitely work very well together. So I'm gonna take my Crunchy No. 2 powder brush, and this is in the shade Comfy. And I'm going to press that into the skin, and I wanna show you a side by side. So this is with the powder. This is without. I think you're going to be able to see whether you're looking straight ahead or, side by side. I think you'll be able to see that took down the shine and the luminosity quite a bit. That is not always the case with this powder. I have used this powder with a lot of other different foundations, and a lot of times it looks luminous on my skin. If I were to wear it with a matte foundation, it actually makes the foundation look a little bit more luminous. That's why when I first tried this, I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna really like these together. I feel like maybe I'm gonna be a little too luminous, but it's the weirdest thing. It actually mattifies my skin more with this foundation than with others. However, it is pretty darn flawless together. I mean, it's not bad by itself, but when you put that on, it just looks so seamless and not cakey at all. Still is not heavy at all. It looks very, very, very seamless and not makeup-y at all. So I'm gonna finish up my makeup. I wanted to show you the powder part because the bronzer I'm going to use has a little bit more luminosity to it, so I didn't want that to sway the actual finish of just the foundation and the powder. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm all finished up with my makeup. I feel like it looks a little bit more glowy because I did use the Kosas bronzer, which is a baked product, so it has like a natural glow to it, but it's glow like I want it. It's not too much. So let's go ahead and talk real quick about my final thoughts on this. I think that there are a lot of good things about this foundation. I feel like out of a lot of the ones that I have been reviewing lately, this is one of the ones that is most easily manipulated. Meaning, if I want it to be more matte, I can make it more matte and it's going to be more matte. With my primers, I don't really use primers, but you could use primers with a certain setting powder. If I wanted it to be more luminous, I can make it more luminous and it's gonna stay that way. Some other foundations, it starts off matte, it gets more luminous. It starts off luminous and it either dries up or it gets oily looking. So I feel like this one is very consistent in what I want it to be all throughout the day. The wear is really nice. I've not had any issues with it patching off. And typically when I wear a foundation, when I say the wear is nice, if it's not gonna wear well on me, it is going to patch off around my forehead, get cakey in the middle of my face, or patch off around my nose and my chin. I haven't had any of those issues. Doesn't get cakey, doesn't patch off. And I have worn this in sweaty conditions when I'm working out, and I have worn this in very cold conditions. Pretty consistent across the board with that as well. I love the finish. I love the coverage. It's just enough without being too much. But if you are a tinted moisturizer girl and you're thinking this is gonna be that, it's not. It is on the heavier side of coverage or on the fuller side of coverage than some of the ones I have been reviewing recently, but it's not too full. Some foundations are just too full, too heavy. They start feeling heavy on the skin. This feels lightweight. I don't have any issues with it sinking into my skin. As you saw on the close-up, both by itself and with powder, despite its coverage being a little bit higher, it still sits really well on the skin. From what I can see, this doesn't have any actual oils in the formula. I think if you have super oily skin, you're gonna need to prime and set accordingly, but you may actually still like this if you like a more natural finish, not matte look. If you are super dry, I can see that even with the added like hydrating ingredients, I can see this being a little bit drying on the skin if you have like flakes. Okay, I had my flaking under control while I was testing this the past 4 or 5 days, so I haven't tested it on that. But I feel like maybe it might be a little suffocating on that. However, if you have just typical dry skin, normal skin, combo skin, I think you're really gonna enjoy this. I don't think there's any certain age group that this is gonna be better on than not. Just know that as we get older, a lot of times people have come to me saying they prefer more of like a serum foundation or something that's a little bit lighter in coverage. That's not this. So as you can tell, I do really enjoy this. This is on the pro end of the foundations that I have been trying lately. The only drawback to me is the niacinamide. And I had mentioned in the beginning of the demo about how I have been more red lately. And I believe it's because I have been wearing nothing but this for the past 4 or 5 days. And I have mentioned in other videos, I can take niacinamide in small doses. I have it in my Curology Trek Cream, it's 4%, and that's basically all that I use it in. I've been trying out a new Refer moisturizer, which I really like, but it has added niacinamide, so I can't use it every day. If I start using a ton of products that have niacinamide in them, my face gets really red, it gets irritated, and it feels hot. Like I used a niacinamide toner one time, it was 10%, which I know is really heavy, really high, but I wasn't aware at that time that I was kind of sensitive to it. And I felt like my face was peeling off and it was beet red for like 2 days straight. Very, very, very uncomfortable. So I feel like that it's because of the added niacinamide. And for me personally, I just can't do that every day. So while I do really enjoy this foundation and I feel like it wears well and looks good, it's just not one I'm going to be able to use every day. I'm going to have to space it out because of that. But other than that, I really enjoy it. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions that I didn't touch on, please let me know down in the comment section below. And let me know if you have tried this, what you think, or if you are going to try it. As always, I have everything that I'm wearing listed and linked down in the description box. Please like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you're staying happy, healthy, safe, and sane, and that most of all, you go out and have a very blessed day.